Hey folks, Tim here from Rockout Videography, and welcome to my very first Q&A video, Q&A 001. I really like Q&A videos, and I figure if I like them, other people must like them too. So I do get questions and comments sometimes in the videos that I publish that they kind of require more than just whatever I could type in there. I do try to look at all the comments and answer them. As the subscriber base gets larger, though, it becomes more and more difficult. So I figured, hey, let's just take some time to go through some of these and answer questions, and maybe we can help some of you guys out. Now, being that I'm an old guy, I unfortunately have to wear reading glasses when I read. Hopefully that doesn't bother you guys too much. All right, let's get started. Gerdot, responding to the Squire 50s P-Bass video, said, "You made a good buy. This is the first gen P-Bass 50 still crafted in China. The second or new generation ones are made in Indonesia. Chinese ones are becoming hard to find, and they're having great quality and craftsmanship." Well, I wasn't aware that they were making the classic Vibe 50s bass in Indonesia now. So I went on the Squire website, and sure enough, there you go. You can see right back on the back of the headstock. That's where it's made. But I'm not sure I have an issue with that, and here's why. This right here, this is a Squire vintage modified jazz bass, 70s jazz bass. This is an awesome bass, and this was made in the Court Guitar Factory in Indonesia, same as the rest of the Squires. In fact, Court has been ghost building guitars and basses for Squire and a lot of other people for a really long time. And they do make really good stuff. Like I said, I love this bass. I've gigged with it and recorded with it. If you type into YouTube, do a search, and put in Fender Guitar Factory, put in Court Guitar Factory, and you're gonna find video tours of these places, and they look identical, basically. So that's kind of the thing with guitars these days, and basses, of course, is that it's all being made on computerized CNC machines. So yeah, could the quality of the parts be different from one to the other? Yeah, and if somebody's quality assurance isn't really up to par, then yeah, you could have some issues. But overall, I don't think there's really an issue with the bass being made in China or Indonesia. I think there's a lot of good stuff coming out of there. All right, next up. From Golden Productions 2019, responding to the Home Recording Studio Design Episode 1 Planning. "One little tip, dude, when you're in the studio, you're probably going to be working in there with people. So if the bar is not going to be used, then think about not putting it in. I mean, it will be a good idea to put a fridge in for water and drinks, but rethink the bar to see if you're actually going to use it. Because where that bar is now, you could put so many more important things there than a bar. Like you could put a piano, or a vocal booth, or an overdub room. There's a lot you can do, so remember, everything you're going to put in your room, think about it first and say, okay, how much am I going to use it? This cause recording studios don't really have bars, and there's a lot of other important things that you could put in there." All right, well, Golden Productions, thanks for the advice. In my case, though, however, the bar is you can see it behind me right there. The bar is super, super important, and you have to keep in mind that this is a multi-use room. This isn't a soundproofed recording studio that's off from the rest of the house. This is everyday living space when we're not recording and playing music in here. Where I'm sitting right now on the couch is facing my mix area, which is also, that's where I pay bills and edit and do all kinds of stuff, basic computer things. And this is where we have family movie night and we sit and watch the big screen TV. So yeah, it's a multi-use room, and the bar is very useful. It gets a lot of use. In the past, we used to set up our Christmas village on it during the holidays, which is cool. Something the kids really enjoy doing. Having a place to socialize and hang out when you're with your friends and you're playing music is a really, really nice thing. Everybody likes to take a break from time to time, and it kind of becomes a centerpiece for everybody to talk to each other and sit around. And it doesn't necessarily have to involve alcohol. When the kids have friends over here to jam or hang out and play music, you know, they could sit at the bar and drink sodas or milkshakes or whatever, and that's all fine. I use that bar as a backdrop for thumbnails and other pictures. And what I did was I built a diffuser into the front of it. So it's actually helping with the acoustics of the room as well. I've shot several videos sitting at that bar doing my dialogue. You can see that in a bunch of my past videos. And it's also just really handy as a level space to use like as a workbench. In fact, I've done a bunch of unboxing stuff on that. The top of it with a towel or something hides what it is, or the wood grain actually looks cool for some sort of stuff that I've put up there just to take pictures as a background. And you're going to see later on I helped somebody out with instructions on how to do something, and I shot that video with on top of a towel sitting right on top of the bar. So yeah, appreciate. And for those of you out there that are planning a home studio, yeah, if you've got a dedicated room that's going to be a recording studio and nothing else is going to be in there, do you want to sacrifice that space for a bar? You probably don't. But for me, I definitely do. And the bar, this room has been through many permutations. This is actually the second one that I've built. So there's always been a bar up here. But thanks for the advice. All right, moving on to the next question. Official WWM, in responding to the Home Recording Studio Design Episode 2 DIY monitor stand, says, wood is not a good material to use for speaker stands in a critical listening situation. It vibrates and adds resonance to the room. A hollow tube filled with sand is a far better idea. Well, he's correct. The more mass you have, the less vibration you're going to get through a speaker, but let's stop and break this down for a second. It's assumed that the speaker itself, the enclosure, it's vibrating, the wood that the speaker is mounted in, and you know, the manufacturer takes that into account. It's all part of the design. And if you set it on something else that vibrates, then it is true, that is now creating sound. But can you tell the difference? Can you really? If you look at the next episode that came after this one, I made DIY isolation stands by using different kinds of rubber. And I reference a article by Ethan Weiner where he did some actual sound tests, and there was no perceivable difference whether you used monitor pads or not. So yeah, could big things full of sand be better for critical listening, which is what we're doing when we're monitoring and mixing music, right? Yeah, but are you actually going to hear a difference? Is that going to make the difference in your mix, right? Oh, my mix turned out terrible because I didn't use big hollow tubes filled with sand to mount my monitors on. No, I don't think so. And keep in mind that the golden rule of all this stuff is, if it sounds good, it is good. So yeah, my monitor stands work just fine for what they are. But he is correct about the tubes full of sand. All right, next question from Everything That's Adam, and this was in response to the Ultimate DIY Bass Pedal Board video. And he said, intrigued to know why you opted for a limiter enhancer as opposed to a compressor. And what he's talking about is this right here. This is the Boss Limiter Enhancer LMB3. I like this. I like what it does. But why did I pick this? That's his question. Well, I don't know. I was just experimenting and trying different things, and I'd read reviews, and it turned out that it did sound good. I liked what it did. It improved the tone of my bass as far as I was concerned. But I bought this used, and it started to develop like a hiss. It's been a while. I don't remember exactly, but it was like a hiss. And these things can be tricky with the controls, and depending on how you have them set, you can induce that problem with this pedal. But I don't believe that that's what it was. It's something that seemed to creep in, so I need to tear it apart and see if I can do my first attempt at pedal repair. What I've done since then is I got myself a Keeley Bassist compressor pedal. That's what I've been using on my board for a while now, and I really, really, really like that compressor pedal a lot. I'm sorry, I really like that compressor pedal a lot. Oh, by the way, unless I screw up super bad, I'm not doing other takes or whatever here. You guys can listen to me mumble on my words. That'd be fine, right? It's a Q&A video. Cool? All right. Next question is from Rick Jones, 5924, about the Kramer Farrington bass. As I commented, I have an all-white one with OHSC. I'm not sure what that means. I didn't take the time to figure it out. Somebody put a note in the comments if you can explain what that stands for. I'll probably feel really dumb when I see it. But moving on to the question. 1988 is the year of his bass. He says, thinking of selling but can't find a selling price. I've seen from $250 to $800. Any idea? Thanks. Well, this is kind of a difficult question to answer, but I started by going on the internet and looking to see what they were going for, and I saw a white one right here. This one's going for $1,000 in very good condition, and here's another one that's going, a white one going for less. He says that his has got oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read the rest of his question. He said, I'm seeing them go for $700 to $1,000 with the case. Since you said the base has warped around the sound hole, it may be worth less. Okay, I'm starting to get confused. When I read this question before, I'm going to assume he means that his has warping around the sound hole. So you can see him going for like $1,000 in very good condition, but this is the bottom line, and this is the problem with trying to put a value on any used piece of, well, anything, but particularly musical gear, guitars, basses, and so on. It's ultimately worth whatever you're willing to part with it for, right? So if you'll take $100 for it, then it's worth $100. If you're not going to part with it for less than $1,200, it's worth $1,200. And things fluctuate so much, it's just you can't nail it down. I don't think that there's anything reliable. Like, you look at, like, cars even, you've got prices that are suggested, and there's Kelley Blue Book and whatever, but at the end of the day, is that what cars are selling for? No, you can go on to any website devoted to car sales, and you're going to see widely fluctuating prices. One of the bases I showed right there, it's had a $100 markdown because nobody was buying it at the price that guy was offering it. My advice, keep the base, don't sell it. I like flat wound, tape wound, how do you say it, nylon tape wound flats on my acoustic bass. Put some of those on there and play with it, and it's really cool because when you sit down with your friends and they break out the acoustic guitars, you've got nothing to play with them if you're a bass player. That's why ultimately I bought mine. All right, my mouth is getting dry. I need some coffee. If any of you guys are watching the videos that we post on the cooking stuff, the easy cooking videos, I'm going to show you guys how to make that particular recipe one of these days. All right, moving on to the next one. From Maj R2513, responding to the Harbinger Very V2308 review. Thank you for the video. Did the 10s work out better for you? Well, what he's referring to is that in the video on the Harbinger 8-inch monitors, they weren't loud enough. And my plan at the end of the video was I said I'd try the 10s. Well, when I went down, I ended up buying the 12s instead. And I'm glad that I did because they work great for band practice. We've been using them for a long time now. And there's plenty of headroom. There's no issues with the volume being enough at all. And they sound great. Brad and Sarah from my band, the Burnlackers, have used one of them. They'll grab one from band practice when they do their acoustic duo act. And in fact, you can see right here, we actually, at our last gig, they were opening for us, so opening for themselves, I guess you could say, doing that. And they brought one of those Harbingers, and they used it as a monitor on stage. And it worked great. So I don't know. When I went to Guitar Center, when I started looking at stuff like the SPLs and I started talking to people down there, I don't think that the 10s were going to be enough of an increase in volume output for what I needed. And I decided I'd rather have the 12s and have no problems with volume. And I could use those as mains also if I needed to on one of my boards. So yeah, didn't do the 10s, bought the 12s. The 12s are working great. I'll do a review on them here sooner or later, but I recommend if you're looking for an affordable pair of stage monitors, yeah, the Harbingers from Guitar Center are, again, are they super awesome? No, they're not. Are they good? Yeah, they're good. They sound good. They'll do the job. All right, another question in regards to the Harbinger Very V2308 review came from 5.7 Heaven, and they say, is there a certain way the mic needs to be connected? We connected our mic to the input and set it to mic. Can't get any sound to play through. The mic works on other speakers. So let me tell you a quick story about troubleshooting and stuff I learned. When I was in high school. I worked for a small family business. It was a retail business doing that sold lights. You would not believe how many people brought in a broken lamp that just needed a new light bulb. And then working for that same family years later, I was in, like, basically I was a low voltage technician. I was doing intercom systems, central vac, alarms, stereo, all of that. And what I learned from those experiences, when it comes to troubleshooting, always check the stupid stuff first. So here's a picture of the back of one of these Harbinger speakers. And you can see where the arrow's pointing right there to one of the combo 1/4 inch XLR inputs. And right above it, you see that switch that says mic, instrument, and line. That's what he's talking about when he says he set it to mic, because that would be something to check. If you hook up a instrument or mic level into that 1/4 inch and you have it set for line, you're going to get hardly anything at all. The difference being is that instrument, without getting into too technical in ohms and impedance and all this, the bottom line is that a line level signal is much, much hotter than an instrument or mic level signal. So if your input is looking for a hot signal and you're sending one not so hot, you're not going to get much out of it. Now, as far, so he says he's checked it with other stuff, so that we assume the mic works. He says it does. We assume that the microphone cable is good. If you plug that into something else, it works. Did you look at your gain setting on the back of the amp, right? If your gain isn't turned up, you're not going to be getting anything. If you've gone through all of that 5.7 heaven and you still aren't getting anything out of the speaker, you probably got a bad speaker, and it could happen. Guitar Center will, unless you bought it used from someone, Guitar Center will honor all that stuff with warranty and so on and so forth. So get down there and have them check it out and get it replaced. All right. Jesse Rania 7408 responding to the GLS guitar cable video said, only problem is that most cables won't start having any issues until 2 or 3 months after you started using them, if they have any component issues, unless they were damaged during shipping. Yeah, he's not wrong. This is true. However, to just say 2 or 3 months, I've had mic cables that lasted for years and all of a sudden had a problem. And when you pull them apart and look at the solder work, you wonder how it ever made it that long to begin with. By the same token, are you taking care of your cables? If you're doing stupid stuff with them, you may do stuff that degrades the connection. It's, unless you like roll over it with something that's heavy enough to actually cut into the cable or smash it, most of the time you're going to be talking about a bad solder joint at the jack. And if you've got some basic solder skills and a soldering gun, you can fix that. You can fix your cables. So, but having said that, I like the cables, and I've bought more of them since then, and we haven't had any issues with them at all. And I will buy more until such time as I have a problem and they piss me off, and then I won't anymore. But for now, yeah, they're good guitar cables. They're working great. All right. Next question, last question. This is from Jill Begeman 3084, and she had a question that she posted on the iHonva phone case review video, and she says, "Hi there. How need to remove this case? Can't seem to get it off." All right. So right now it's summer vacation time. Those other phone cases don't happen to be at home, but I've got my OtterBox right here on my Galaxy S23 Plus or S22 Plus. Seems like whenever I do these videos and I describe my phone, I get it wrong, huh? Anyways, so I did a quick video. Here you go. I'm going to describe how you get the case off. It's pretty easy. First of all, you've got to peel the rubber case around the plastic case. Peel it off, set it aside, and you're going to notice there's arrows on the back here on the OtterBox one. The tabs are in the same place on the other one, though, that point to these tabs, and you just have to pry them up. You can usually get in there with your fingernail, if not a small screwdriver or something. Once you pop those, it'll pry open on that side. So you just flip the phone around, and then you pry those off again on the other side. And there's some tabs on the ends. Once you pry those tabs up carefully, the whole thing just comes apart into all of its pieces. And you can use that opportunity to clean your phone or do whatever it is you're going to do. But there you go. That's how you get the case off. It's really, really simple. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you found this entertaining and useful. First Q&A video that I've ever done. If you think I got something wrong in here, go ahead and leave a comment and share your wisdom. Let us know. I don't know everything. I've been doing this a long time and I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. So share your wisdom. And if you leave comments and questions in my other videos that I post, and I think that a more elaborate answer or some kind of demonstration would be useful to help people, I'll put them in the next Q&A video. All right, thanks again for watching, guys. As always, we appreciate anybody that hits the like button. We appreciate getting new subscribers. We're trying to reach our subscriber goal. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.